Are you ready for that? He could arrive this September. I know I've been telling you I don't know exactly which September it will be, but I'll tell you what, the Lord has really put a fire under my butt about this whole issue of Arizona and New Mexico being an open gateway for the Chinese soldiers to march in, so I know something's up. I know something's up, something's imminent, something's around the corner. You can feel it. If it's this September, then 2 to 3 weeks would be all the time we have to get down there and seal those areas up, because if Maitreya comes this September, there won't be any more time left to do that. If it comes next September, then we have another year to travel the country and seal up gateways and portals and areas that Satan can use to destroy us with. We'll have more time. The problem is not just running out of time, it's just that we don't have the money to do so. And the people that the Lord has stood up to support this ministry have simply failed to do so. They have failed to do so. I'm not talking about people on fixed incomes. It breaks my heart to see people on fixed incomes supporting and doing things like that, because I know they can't afford it. But I know that the Lord himself is specifically a blessed people with an abundance of money, so that in the last days he could use them to support his prophets and his mouthpieces that he stands up to lead the people. And they've taken that money and they've supported the wrong ministries. And that just angers me. That just angers me, because I can see how much work we need to do in this country. I've been scraping nickels and dimes for years, trying to get the stuff done across this country and around the world. And the wolves are driving Mercedes-Benzes and building vacation homes and riding in jet airplanes. It just angers me. And so this is almost a last chance, a final opportunity for these people, because you're going to stand in judgment for the Lord himself. And if we don't get this area done down in New Mexico and Arizona, the blood of millions is going to be on your hands. It's going to be on your hands. I need to raise about $25,000 immediately, so we can guarantee that the work's done in the Southwest. We have about 2 to 3 weeks to get that done, folks. Or we do nothing, and we just pray and hope that somebody else goes down and does the work. It's up to you. You want to leave that as a chance that someone else will stand up and get those areas, or you want to support this ministry enough so that we can raise the funds necessary to get another vehicle to get all supplies we need and head down that area and get it ourselves. It's just up to you, folks. It's going to be up to you. I've talked about for the last couple of years how effective Oregon is. It's stopped chemtrails. You can drive in my area any time of the day and you'll see white fluffy clouds. Chemtrail planes have totally given up coming here because the chemtrails wouldn't stick. And when I found out it could stop chemtrails was when we really got to push to get people to get it out, just to stop the chemtrails. It's worked against Benny Hinn. We've had warriors go to Benny Hinn conferences, and he just loses his power. He loses all of his demonic power at his meetings when somebody's there with Orgone. Because demons and Satan won't enter facilities that have Orgone in them, because Orgone burns them. They can't breathe around it. It burns them. It makes them uncomfortable. And so, I've had a lot of funny stories from people that have gone to Benny Hinn crusades just to sit there with Orgone, and then talk about the effects, how he just had no power that night. A lot of his false miracles were negated. And so it's really funny just to see how positively it affects the negative forces in this country and around the world. It has stopped people from getting night terrors, keeps demons out of your bedrooms at night, people that have been terrorized by demons and aliens and abductions and things like that their entire lives. They put Orgone in their rooms and under their beds, and it has stopped that. You'll notice a difference with alien shapeshifters and these reptilians that take on human bodies and walk amongst us. You'll see them get aggravated and agitated and very angry. And it's almost like they know you have Orgone on. You have an Orgone pendant on, or you have it in your pocket or something, because the Orgone just agitates them. We've seen it taking down UFOs. I talked about how the Orgone is permeating the atmosphere. It's permeating aerospace and space. It reached all the way up to the Capricorn, which is the Ashtar Command's stronghold, one of their main base. And it brought it out of the sky. And so, shortly after the Capricorn came falling out of the sky, and of course NASA had called it a satellite and named it Temple 1, which I really think is funny, because the Capricorn actually is the temple for the aliens. And if you don't know who the Ashtar Command is, I have their pictures and I have information about it at SherryTalkRadio.com. Because like I've said, Satan has his kingdom organized. There's councils, there's groups, there's a hierarchy. And at the top of his hierarchy is this Ashtar Command, and it's this council, this board that he has that rules over the earth, and all the Illuminati and the you've heard about the Illuminati's, the secret society on earth that's been planning all of the events on earth to bring about the destruction and the rise of the Antichrist. Well, these Illuminati are serpent seed children of these leaders, these aliens. It's why everything is so bloodline oriented. You'll see how these families, they only breed from inner within families. There's 13 families of the Illuminati bloodlines. I have those listed on my website at thewatcherfiles.com. So it's all connected. It's all connected. And this Ashtar Command is the council above the earth that rules over these Illuminati families on earth. And it's the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and all these families on the earth that do their bidding. They control the economies, the banks, the governments. They're in total control of everything. You know what? When the Lord opens your eyes to how surrounded we are by Satan, it's just an eye opener. It's always been there. It's almost like you just don't see it until the Lord all of a sudden hits your spirit with it to the reality of it. When you look at Asian nations and all these millions of Asian nations that claim they can trace their genealogy and their races back to the dragon, their dragon races, how much more do you need? People, I get these emails from people. Are you saying the Asians are serpent seed race? I go, no, they're saying that themselves. They're boasting that they can claim their lineage back to the dragon to 5,000 years ago. And, it's just incredible that when you start to see the magnitude of how surrounded we are on this earth and how many forces Satan's going to have at his disposal when he comes to earth and rises to power, destroys America, destroys Europe, takes all the countries' uniqueness away, and forces everybody just to worship a one world order and worship him as God. And that's what they're setting all this up for, folks. And he has all these forces, these armies at his disposal, and they're circling America. We've got the wolves circling the sheep now. Chinese equipment coming in from the West Coast. Clinton had given them a shipping base off the West Coast in California to bring their equipment in. We've got it coming over from California. We've got troops amassing on the Mexican and southern border of New Mexico and Arizona. They're just everywhere, folks. And our government's been bringing them in and setting this up for the last 10 years. I mean, it's not something that's just happened recently. It's been going on and on and on. I've heard that there's underground bases in Texas where they're stockpiling German soldiers. I've heard of, the Chinese soldiers. Of course, people have seen the Chinese soldiers because they cross the border and go into Deming, New Mexico. I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I talked about it because we've got warriors that live down in Las Cruces, New Mexico. And if they can get that area from state to state, then I would help provide them with Oregon if I can, from one end of the state to the other. But they've definitely been seen. I mean, they've been seen. And so that is, when the Lord says, hits on my spirit that we've only got a timetable of we could have one of 2 to 3 weeks and that's it. Maitreya arrives. The first thing he does is his war on the saints, because when Maitreya arrives, he's going to attempt to take the world over for Islam. Like I've said, we've got a bad Antichrist, good Antichrist scenario coming, because he's going to arrive first, then attempt to take the world over for Islam, and then this Jesus Sananda is going to arrive, which is going to be his buddy, and it's Jesus who's going to have the world worship this Maitreya as God. But what I find interesting is that I really believe that Maitreya is going to die. I think that this Oregon is going to affect him. I keep seeing that we kill him because we kill so many of his forces. I do think we kill him. He could be the one that comes back to life then. And I've talked about this Maitreya. He's a Cain double. They've taken Cain's DNA and they've made a double of him. And that's what this Maitreya is. He's a Cain double. Literally, they've taken his DNA and cloned him. In actuality, his real body, he's just a I don't know what he is, a tall gray probably. I know that Jesus is a lizard. Jesus is reptilian. See that in the codes all the time. And I'm not talking about the real Son of God, folks, whose name is Yahushua. That's why I stress the importance of calling him by his real name, because Satan has one of his ascended master generals coming down here on earth named Jesus, and he's going to be deceiving the world into worshiping the Antichrist is God. He's the false prophet. He's going to be the second beast of Revelation. And what I found interesting last night, I was looking through a Bible code on the state of Arizona. And often you'll find different things in codes that don't belong. Some, a snid, some information about something else. I found it interesting that in 2009, 2010, that the idol image, the sculptor of this image talked about in Revelation chapter 13, how everyone will be forced to worship the image of the beast. It's going to be sculpted in Spain.